Social Security, including retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, and SSI. Some encouraging information on raising and increasing monthly benefits for millions of beneficiaries. Let's get into it and discuss all the details. But if you haven't done so yet, or if you happen to be new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so I can keep you updated each and every day while information is changing very rapidly, as that is my commitment to you and this community as a whole, is to be here for you each and every day, boiling all the information that I find down into the shortest videos possible to help you out in any way that I possibly can as your one and only daily advocate, as I completely recognize this is a really tough time right now, and I want to do whatever I possibly can to be here for you and help you out in any way that I can. So again, thank you so much for being here. Subscribe down below, and let's get into this right away. All right, so there's actually some encouraging information out there for literally millions of beneficiaries that receive any of the benefits I mentioned at the beginning of this video: Social Security retirement, disability, SSDI, survivors, and SSI. Now, if you've been watching my videos for any length of time now, we've talked about a couple different programs out there, but I briefly want to hit on those and then talk about some other things that are going on out there right now that could potentially be bringing raises and increases to literally millions of beneficiaries in a matter of months. So first off, just recently, about a month ago or so, the Social Security 2100 was reintroduced. Now, we've talked about this one in previous videos. I'm not going to go into all the details about that because I've covered it in previous videos. However, this is the one that was introduced by Representative John Larson, and this is the Social Security 2100, the newly revised and expanded version of the bill from back in 2019. Now, he introduced this about a month ago, and this one is actually, it has about 12 provisions in there to actually raise and expand benefits as well as expand the program as a whole of Social Security. So a lot of really good stuff in there. We also do know that there is the Ssi Restoration Act. Now, again, if you've been watching for any length of time now, we've talked about this one a few different times because there's been a variety of different updates over the last few months here, but Democrats have been working on this one for probably 6 months or so. I don't know exactly how long, but it was reintroduced a number of months ago. It's been a very slow process, but this one is specifically dedicated to SSI beneficiaries, supplemental security income, and they have a whole bunch of different provisions in there that are actually really promising, and honestly, it looks really good. So for SSI beneficiaries, that is a really good one right there, provided they can actually get something done there, but that would be really transformational for literally millions of people. Like 8 million beneficiaries of SSI could take advantage of that one, and that'd be a really good one right there. However, we also do know that the president has his own plan to reform and raise Social Security benefits. At the same time, we know that Senator Bernie Sanders also has a plan to raise Social Security benefits and expand the programs. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I've been finding out there. So now that we approach the end of 2021, by the way, I'm recording this video in the end of November 2021. So if you happen to be watching this in 2022, I'm sure we'll probably have a lot more updates by then, but this is just what I have as of right now. So originally, they wanted to include some of this within the reconciliation bill that, yes, the Senate is still working on as we speak. Well, probably not literally as we speak right now, but like figuratively, they're currently working on this package as they want to get it through within the next few weeks here and fully passed. Now, as we approach the end of this reconciliation bill, they wanted to include some of this in there, including the SSI Restoration Act. Remember, I brought to you about maybe 2 months ago or so, the president actually came out and endorsed the SSI Restoration Act to be included within the reconciliation bill. Well, at this time, we're still not sure if that's going to be included or not. However, there's some encouraging information out there with experts and people who watch this stuff closely and who have apparently some inside knowledge on what's going on with the Social Security 2100, as well as Social Security as a whole, what's going on behind the scenes with Congress, what's going on with the SSI Restoration Act. Experts are saying that coming in sometime in early-ish 2022, coming on the agenda of Congress, they could be taking up some of these provisions and looking at expanding these essential programs. So this would be absolutely amazing. I mean, literally, the things that we've been waiting for so incredibly long now, raising benefits, right? This is so incredibly important. And maybe Congress may actually be taking this up over the next few months here. Now, again, we do know that Congress works incredibly slow, so who knows how long it might actually take them to get something done on this. But this is what some of the experts are saying, is that it's looking promising that they would be taking this up relatively soon after they get this reconciliation bill done, provided they don't actually add something in there. Now, one more thing I have to mention too. According to the Senate parliamentarian rules, they cannot actually expand Social Security in this reconciliation bill. So unfortunately, that one may need to wait. But according to what I've been finding, it looks like it's still kind of a gray area when it comes to expanding SSI with the SSI Restoration Act. And according to what the president said, as far as endorsing it and adding it into the reconciliation bill, according to what they're saying, it looks like they think it might be potentially eligible to be added into the reconciliation bill. But again, got to watch that very closely, right? But either way, whether it's added into the reconciliation bill, otherwise known as the stimulus package, or not, it appears that this is something, according to the experts, that Congress may be taking up shortly into the new year. So a matter of just a couple months from now, right? So this would be good. Now you may be wondering, okay, we've had all this time go by. Why are they waiting until then to start finally doing something? Well, it all comes down to, yes, you called it, the midterm elections coming up in November of 2022. Therefore, what I've been finding is what they're saying is they quickly want to get some of these programs reformed prior to the midterm elections because, a big shocker, Social Security beneficiaries, SSDI, survivors, and SSI beneficiaries actually make up a large percentage of the voting block. Well, yeah, we could have told you that, right? So yeah, I mean, clearly we know all of this. As we know, all of these beneficiaries encompasses about 70 plus million beneficiaries. However, the reform to these programs and expansion of benefits would not actually include all beneficiaries. Why? Here's what it is. Because a lot of times the expansion of these programs and actually reform of the programs is to help out the lower income beneficiaries. So the people who receive less than the poverty line, that's where the vast majority of these changes would actually take place, is to help raise the benefits for the lower income beneficiaries. So basically, as I mentioned in previous videos, the federal poverty line right now as we speak is $12,880 per year, which actually calculates out to $1,073 each and every month. So the vast majority of the focus right now is on those individuals who have a benefit at or below the federal poverty line. So that's where the major focus would actually come in. Now, we do know that there are some people receiving Social Security, whether it's retirement or disability, SSDI, or maybe survivors benefits, who receive over the federal poverty line in benefits. Well, according to what I've been finding, it looks like the vast majority of the changes and reform to these programs would not actually impact those individuals all that much. It's mostly on the lower income beneficiaries, the people who receive less than the poverty line, right? And according to some proposals, some of the packages or some of the provisions out there that are floating around, they actually pertain to those beneficiaries receiving under 125% of the federal poverty line, which is actually $16,100 per year. Right now, that's the federal poverty line at 125% of the federal poverty line is actually $16,100, or divided out on a monthly basis is $1,341 each and every month. So that's where the vast majority of these changes would actually take place, is anywhere basically at the poverty line or 125% of the federal poverty line. So if that makes sense. But anyway, so this wouldn't actually encompass all like 70 plus million beneficiaries, but it still would encompass literally millions of people, right? And it's kind of nice that they're finally recognizing this and looking at it and saying, well, these people make up a large percentage of voters, people who actually go out and hit the polls when it comes to election time. Well, yeah, of course they do, right? Because when we're not getting something and we're struggling, of course we want to make our voices heard. And how do we do that? We do that by hitting the polls, right? Yeah, so that's one way. It's just like filling out a survey. A lot of times people who are happy with something typically don't fill out surveys, but a lot of times the people who are maybe dissatisfied or want their voices to be heard are the ones who fill out surveys, right? It's kind of the same thing when it comes to elections and polls and voting. If we're dissatisfied and we want somebody to work for us and help us out, what do? We let our voices be heard by hitting the polls, right? So kind of the same thing. So kind of interesting how they maybe want to pick this up in early 2022 and start reforming these programs to help out the millions of beneficiaries drawing on these benefits at or below the federal poverty line just ahead of the elections. I mean, are we really going to care? Well, at the same time, we want these programs to be reformed. So the sooner the better, but it's kind of interesting how they're looking at this thinking, we're going to do it right before the elections. And again, we don't know how long this could take. It could literally take 6 months for them to implement any kind of reform. Again, they work very slow. We know this. We've been watching Congress for over a year and a half now, very closely, literally on a daily basis. And they work, I think at a snail's pace would almost be a compliment, right? That would be almost an exaggeration of a compliment, right? So either way, they work very, very slow because it's a very intricate process, especially when it comes to programs like Social Security. This is a very big program. It's been around for decades, right? And to reform this program is going to take a lot of congressional work. So When it comes to that one, of course, yeah, it's going to take a while for them to work through that. As far as the SSI Restoration Act, realistically, that one could probably be passed probably a lot faster. The program has been around since the early 70s, but it doesn't encompass nearly as many beneficiaries. It encompasses about 8 million beneficiaries versus about 70 or so million beneficiaries. So you can see it's still a very vital program. It's very, very important, the SSI program, but yet it doesn't encompass nearly as many people. Therefore, it's not as far reaching. Therefore, it should be a little bit easier for them to actually reform, if all that makes sense, right? But either way, it does look a little bit encouraging when it comes to what Congress may actually be doing here in a matter of just months when it comes to these programs. But of course, just like everything, I always have to say no promises, right? Because here's the thing. Congress has also promised many, many things. They've told us many things. They've promised many things. And then what happens? Oh yeah, they don't actually follow through, right? We've seen this so many times. Just like back in early 2020, that the $200 per month raise. Remember that one? Of course we remember it, because that was a really good provision that many of us had our eyes on, and we thought, oh, this is great. This is going to give us the extra $200 a month right now that we all need. It would help us so much tremendously. And then sure enough, what happened there? Shortly thereafter, it just kind of disappeared, went to the wayside. We never heard about it again. And here we are about a year and a half later. Well, it was actually about, I'm going to say probably 16 months ago was probably the last time we heard anything about it. Probably like early summerish time, maybe late spring, early summer was probably the last time we heard about it of 2020. So whatever, however many months ago that was, quite a while ago, over a year ago was probably the last time we heard anything about these $200 per month raises. And at this point, unfortunately, we kind of have to write that one off as just another one of those great proposals that popped out. Congress said they were going to work on it, and then, of course, they never did anything about it, right? So that's just one example of many things that they've talked about saying that they want to do to help out low-income and fixed-income beneficiaries. And then, unfortunately, they didn't do anything. So, again, I always have to say, no promises, but according to what we're looking at here and what we're finding, it looks a little bit encouraging going into 2022. But I think at this point, a lot of us are maybe feeling like, well, we'll believe it when we see it, right? Anything that pertains to Congress, even the stimulus checks, stuff like that. It's always like, oh, it sounds good. But until we actually have a deposit into our bank account, we're going to withhold our belief, right? You know what I mean? So either way, this is what I got for you. This is what I found. It's kind of encouraging, but it's something we'll have to keep our eyes on going forward. It's a very slow process, but either way, something that looks a little bit encouraging going into the new year here in just a matter of a couple months here. So anyway, hope this helps you out. Again, please make sure to hit the subscribe button right down below the video so I can keep you updated each and every day with all the updates and everything that I'm finding each and every day. I'm doing a lot of research. I want to do whatever I can. As I've said before in my videos, my commitment to you is to make sure that I'm here for you every single day as your advocate and doing all this research, boiling it all down and making sure that we can help you get as much money and benefits that you possibly can as a result of these multi-trillion-dollar stimulus packages and all of these other changes out there, right? So I'm watching everything closely, and I want to make sure if I find something that you can grab, I want to make sure that I tell you about it so you can get it. Even if it's $100, $200, $1,000, whatever it happens to be, I want to make sure that you're taking advantage of it, because unless we do the research and unless we lay it all out, you may not even recognize or may not even know what could possibly be eligible for you to actually receive, right? The IRS is not going to call you and say, hey, John, we have $1,000 here with your name on it. Do you want it or not? They're not going to do that. You know what I mean? So that's why we've got to do this stuff, and I want to make sure that I can help you grab that money. So I hope this helps you out. Again, please feel free to subscribe down below. It's totally free. I'm here for you each and every day. I truly just want to help. I know what it's like to be in a position where you don't know where to turn to get information. I know what it's like where you don't know where to turn to get honest, accurate, and reliable information, and that is my dedication to you. So I hope that you can trust me with this stuff. I do the research, but either way, feel free to go back and check my track record. I have over 1,800 videos, almost 2,000 videos here on the channel. Feel free to go back and check them out if you want. I really appreciate it. So again, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe down below, share the videos with your friends, family, social media, and I'll catch you again later.